Look, I'm not an art nor film historian. I just like film and art a lot. Hello everyone! Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is a 2004 film written by Charlie Kaufman and directed by Michael Gondry, and it stars Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. I gotta say, what a wonderful film. I loved it! I don't know what took me so long to watch this film. I think it's because of the poster, that's why it was never very high on my watch list. But after watching it, I have to say it is quite entertaining and it was very cute. Without further ado, I'm going to dive into the film. Courtesy spoiler alert ahead. If you hate spoilers, stop this video, go watch that film first and come back. Or if you love spoilers like I do and like to watch reviews before you watch a film, then this video was made for you. Then continue watching. Okay, where do I start? The movie is convoluted as hell. Jim Carrey plays Joel, who is a depressed man, and he meets Kate Winslet's character, Clementine, who is eccentric and interesting. At first, it appears that they don't know each other, but later on, we learn that not only do they know each other, they have dated each other for 2 years. They don't remember each other because they both removed the other one from their memories. I mean, the premise is faultless. How many of us haven't had our heart broken and wish we could pretend none of this has ever happened and spare us the heartbreak? This film explores that with a dreamlike sequence. Just like how period films are rarely about the past, sci-fi films are rarely about the future, but rather they're both commentary about the current times that we're living in, or in this case, in the time it was released. Historically speaking, I think in my opinion, the best sci-fi movies are always those that take one social element out of our daily life and then turn it upside down. This film asks a very simple question. What if we can wipe off any memories that we no longer want? Sprinkle in some science fiction element magic that makes it possible, and voila, you will get this movie. The element of science fiction, it wasn't used to predict the future, but it uses it in a way that makes this movie possible. And it asks like a few fundamental questions about who we are as people and how have we decided to deal with those questions. A show that has a similar vibe, in my opinion, but although very differently, is Black Mirror on Netflix. Both of them deals with a not so distant future, and it looks at the world and it takes out social elements about our world, our current world that we're living in, and kind of critiques it with a science fiction solution. That is why I think this is one of the better sci-fi movies that I have watched, because it did this point really, really well. Once Jim Carrey's character Joel entered into the dreamscape when the scientist was trying to remove his memories, he enters into where his memories are while he's sleeping, and that gave the directors an opportunity to make a dreamscape sequence. You see, Surrealism is about breaking down a person's consciousness and then diving directly into their subconsciousness and kind of dig up whatever is in that person's head on the subconscious level. And that's where the dream was, and that's why I think some of the sequences and some of the when he was like panicking and going in through the room, he saw some weird looking faces, and I think that really reminded me of surrealism in being used, and I think that was also really, really well done. I thought that was very thoughtful. And every time Joel goes deeper and deeper into his subconsciousness in order to escape the wiping machine, because he started to regret this process to wipe his memories of Clementine. I did check that this film received an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, I was surprised to find out that it didn't receive any recognition for the special effects that is used in this film. No, seriously, I will put a link down below so you can check for yourself. It's really like crazy well done. The way the story of this film was told in a non-linearly way lends itself really well into the surrealism world, and it blurs the line between dream and memories. Many people will find surrealism random and nonsensical and confuse it with automatism. Automatism is when an artist doesn't know where the art is going and kind of completely let their subconscious take over, and they try to use their conscious mind make sense of whatever they're drawing. Whereas surrealism almost always have a point and it always have a message that it's trying to convey. So in this case, I think the writers are trying to tell us that our dreams are rarely random occurrences. They're always something that is inspired by our daily life. This film shot so many sequences and with so many scenes, I felt really exhausted watching it. I think watching Jim Carrey act in all of them, he looked very exhausted as well. So I respect him a lot as an actor. I mean, I'm not an actor, but I respect him that doing this work. I respect his work ethic. Too bad he didn't win any Oscar for this, because I think this was his one good shot that he could have, gotten some critically acclaim. So going back a little bit, Joel wanted to remove Clementine because he was heartbroken and he thought his time with her was just awful, and he wants to forget her and wipe her memory forever. When he started this process, he started to realize that they do have happy moments together. Once he started to go a little bit further back to the beginning of the relationship, he realizes that they had happy moments together as well. And it was in those moments that he realizes, you know what, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through this process to remove this important person from my life forever. So he started to hide Clementine, the memories of Clementine, in corners of his mind that were not touched or not related to Clementine. But then he realizes that all parts, including the sad parts, including the happy parts, all of the parts are what made him as he was today. All of the things that we consider his shame and humiliation, they are all things that we try to forget, but actually they also are part of our personality and part of our experiences that shape who we are. The thing is, when you remove all of the bad parts, you remove all of the good parts as well. Let me just say that I'm not a psychologist. I don't want to be dealing out diagnosis because I'm unqualified to do that. But I was surprised that the film never explicitly mentioned what are some of the psychological issues the characters are dealing with. I'm surprised they never went to therapy, because I think it would have solved a lot of their problems. Especially Joel's anxiety when surrounded by people will resonate a lot with people that suffers from depression. He doesn't find joy in anything he does, and he really desperately wants Clementine to fix that for him. But Clementine told him from the very beginning that I'm not here to fix your problems, I'm just a girl looking for her own peace of mind. Which to me was so refreshing to hear a female character saying she's dealing with her own issues, she's her own person. Even when she told him that she can't save him because she's also trying to figure herself out, I think Joel stepped into this relationship hoping that Clementine would have saved him anyway. Which brings us to our next point. You knew this point was coming. Clementine is supposed to be this archetype for manic pixie dream girl. She's supposed to be this dream person that nerds dream up, and she is cool and she's spontaneous and she loves life. Oh, she's gonna make all of your problems go away by being cool and spontaneous. And Joel in the beginning loved her for it, but then finds out that she's also a person that, dealing with her own stuff, even when Clementine told him from the very beginning that she's just a girl looking for her own peace of mind. She is not here to fix any of his problems. In the end, she also has her own issues. She has problem with dealing with the consequences of her actions, just like how she impulsively decided to remove Joel from her memories. You see, it is only cute to be spontaneous when you're 14, but it is problematic when you're a grown adult. But I have to say, as a girl growing up, I do see myself a lot in her, where I try to fix other people's problems and try to be the cool girl and just try to be other people's idea of what a cool girl should be instead of just being myself. I find her struggles really relatable. In the end, our relationships are more than just files that we remove from our memories, because they are part of our experiences, and our experiences form our personalities. Near the end of the film, Mary, played by Kirsten Dunst, she fell in love with the doctor of the clinic that provides these memory wiping services. The plot twist was that she actually had fell in love with him before already, and they simply removed her memories. This shows that if we remove our memories, all it will do is us repeating the same mistakes over and over again and never learn from those mistakes. Just like Mary, just like Joel and Clementine when they fell in love again for the second time. The movie did end on a slightly positive note. It shows us that there is hope. Mary collected all of the tapes of all of the past patients and just sent it to everybody so they would hear what they said before their memories were wiped. Clementine and Joel, despite hearing those tapes and the ugly truth of what they think of each other before their memories were wiped, they were very hurt. They decided to take a chance anyway and see whether this would work, and then they disappeared into the snow, just like in the beginning how they first met. It proves that these people are fundamentally pulled towards each other. What we consider an impulse are actually everything that has accumulated via memories, experience, and our personality. Alright, that was my review of Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. What did you think of the film? Did you agree with everything that we have just discussed? Leave me a comment below and let's start a discussion. In the meanwhile, stay safe, kids!